I want to briefly elaborate on something that Advocatus Diaboli wrote. And it was a topic that he wrote about how these so-called social justice warriors, they love to attack video games, but they ignore rap music or black music in general. Now, I wrote a topic on my own blog about 3 years ago called Rap Music Sends the Right Message. And I basically offered my own perspective about how rap music sends the right message, with the exception of talking about gang banging, rapping about black on black crime, getting high, and, you know, that kind of shit. All right. And Thugtician made a video years ago called Hollywood Sends the Right Message. And he offered a dichotomy about which medium should young black boys look up to. Either Hollywood, where black masculinity is seen as a negative light, or rap music, which is rap music is super red pill and it's hyper masculine, and it talks about the more dark side of feminine nature. But then Thugtician also talked about why he hated Afrocentricity. So I wrote my own topic about why I feel that rap music, like pornography and to some small degree sports, sends the right message to young black males out here, because black masculinity is not celebrated in America. It seems like the only mediums where black masculinity is celebrated is in rap music, pornography, and to some degree sports, and even, you know, in people's personal sex lives, whereas you have some women of all ethnicities who are starting to prefer black men, either for sexual relationships, for procreation or recreation, doesn't matter. So anyway, so Advocatus Diaboli talked about how social justice warriors and a lot of what some people call feminist censorship, they attack video games, and some of it rightfully so, because, you know, there are some video games out there that, like, particularly over in some Asian countries, like over in East Asia, where you show women getting raped and beaten, killed, or things of that nature. And then, of course, we can talk about the dynamic between alpha males and beta males. Now, a lot of people assume that most men who sit at home and play video games are beta males, and most people who are video game creators, most of the men who create video game graphics and artworks are beta males, or video game geeks. Just like the guys who stand in line for hours and hours trying to be the first ones to try to get some tickets for a Lord of the Rings movie, or a bunch of Star Wars comic book fanatics and basement dwellers. These guys are not seen as alpha males, they're seen as beta, all right? Whereas a lot of guys who listen to rap music are considered alpha. Like a lot of male porn stars, you see them smash a whole bunch of women and they're considered as alpha, okay? Now, a lot of social justice warriors, they attack video games and then they avoid rap music for several reasons. One is because back in the 80s and the 90s, you had a lot of powers that be to try to censor rap music. Congress called for hearings, and then you had rap artists like, and rap groups like NWA, 2 Live Crew, and a lot of their lyrics, mainstream America could not handle it. And they tried so hard to censor rap music for so long, to the point to where a lot of the lyrics and some of the racist dialogue and some of the dance moves and how some women are shown in rap music videos now it's mainstream now, to the point to where now you have a lot of people who listen to today's rap music like, oh, you know what, this is TMI, this is too much, you know, this is too graphic, we didn't need to hear all that, kids don't need to hear all of that. And I've heard people say this in the late 80s when I was a kid. All right, and it was a losing battle. And See, the thing is that racist white America has tried to censor R&B music and blues music, even back in the 50s and the 60s, saying it was too raunchy and it's damaging or corrupting American morals, and don't let your white kids listen to this music and this and that. You know, white kids back in the 50s, 60s listen to Elvis, Little Richard, and then that turned into R&B music, and that turned into rap music, which has gotten pretty raunchy and graphic and super quote-unquote red pill over the years. And you had a lot of white kids in middle-class America and suburbanite neighborhoods. Some of them, they listen to black music and they bought black music, try to look cool and piss off their parents and piss off teachers in school, and there's some truth to that. Now, without doing a lengthy comparison between black music and white music, and without talking about how white musicians plagiarize black musicians and get away with it, you know, that's a whole nother conversation. Even back in the old days, like back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, you had a lot of white musicians and white rock groups, and they dress all feminine and shit. Well, of course, we can sit up and talk about Michael Jackson and Prince all day long, but a lot of white musicians and white rock groups, white rock artists, they wear makeup, they dress feminine, and some of them might be bisexual and gay and this and that and the third. Whereas back in the day, in the early stages of rap music, they didn't play all of that. Even though nowadays you listen to people like Young Thug, Uzi Vert, and Lil Uzi Vert, some of these guys might be on a DL, and some of these guys are openly bisexual or whatever. Considering our history, black history, I mean, yeah, you do have some Negroes who believe in, again, black respectability politics, and they just beg for acceptance. Whereas a lot of more hyper-masculine, quote-unquote, thugged-out black men who are considered alpha, they don't care about that. And a lot of young black men in today's generation, we know that all this talk about social acceptance and trying to gain acceptability from a group of people or institutions who will abandon you at the drop of a dime, all that shit is stupid, it's useless, and it's a waste of time. You know, so, and we know that a lot of the stuff that society and conservatives and religion and authority figures in school told us to aim towards, you know, I don't care if it's marriage and children or monogamy or signing up for the armed forces or the usual typical go to school, get a job, get married, have kids and this and that, and begging for social acceptance. And, you know, we know now that all of these things are a bunch of lies that was meant to enrich a few rich white assholes and a couple of prissy bitches at the top of society at the expense of everyone else. So therefore, you got a lot of young guys in this generation, myself included, we want more realistic goals. Like, you know, money, power, sex, street cred, respect, and the ability to unionize with a couple of family members and friends in case some shit go down. Those are real goals that a lot of today's young generation of young black men are aiming towards. You know, we're not interested in, you know, the usual typical garbage of, being on honor roll. And I'm not attacking anybody who's aiming towards that, but, you know, a lot of today's generation of young men are not interested in that lip service. We ain't trying to hear that. And another thing that I want to talk about is how, again, it's not just rap musicians, it's R&B singers, and you have a lot of black actors who have grown up in less than affluent neighborhoods, and whether they have fathers in their home or not, they have seen and witnessed and observed and even participated in a lot of devilment. It's just a word that my choice. The word is devilment at the moment. So they've witnessed and observed and participate in a lot of fucked up shit, or they're no stranger to risky confrontations, and they've seen and witnessed and even engaged in a lot of shit that, you know, caused them to spend some time in jail. Trey Songz been to jail, Chris Brown been to jail, The Weeknd been to jail, Charles S. Dutton been to fucking prison, I think because he killed someone. It's just like you have a lot of rappers out here who've been to prison / jail also. Yes, there's a difference between the two. I'm not gonna get into that now. You know, Lil Wayne, T.I., Tupac, and the list goes on. And either because of domestic violence or false rape accusation, or because they beat someone to a pulp, or they damn near kill someone for disrespecting them, or they get into a bunch of fights and the cops try to break up the fight and they punch and beat up police officers. The Weeknd has done that, and I think the rapper The Game has done that as well. So some of these guys spent time in jail, some did community service and had to pay a big fine. And unlike a lot of middle-class suburbanites, they're not afraid of risky confrontation. They're not afraid to stand up to people and hold their own. All right? I'm reminded of this ignorant pastor, this pastor James David Manning, who's on YouTube. And I'm reminded of something that he said when right before Obama became president of the United States in 2008. And to a degree, James David Manning, he was right. Although he was on some coon shit. He was like, don't trust no black man unless he done been to jail. He said, if in white America, for a white person, the powers that be see that you're a successful black person trying to create some type of social change, or you're getting a lot of attention from people, they will put your ass in jail. Malcolm X been in jail, Martin Luther King, Black Panthers. Some members of the Black Panther Party have spent years and years in solitary confinement. And he said they tried to throw Alvin Toussaint in prison. They're trying to put Bill Cosby in prison for some rape accusations or some date rape shit that happened, they say happened like 30, 40, 50 damn years ago. And the same thing can be said about a lot of these black entertainers. Again, that doesn't matter. Not just rappers, black rappers who've been to jail or prison. Again, R&B singers, actors, freedom fighters, political activists, so on and so forth. All right. Whether they go to prison because they're trying to help their people, or for dumb shit, or for petty, small scale criminality, that's neither here nor there. Okay. And that also leads us to, like, who's really scared of who? One reason why you have a lot of these social justice warriors, they spend so much time worrying about video games or bloggers and, trying to get blogs deleted and flagged, is because they see these people as powerless, not because they don't have the money or lawyers to defend themselves. But again, there's the argument of alpha versus beta. We can talk about Fox News and how Bill O'Reilly had it in for a rapper like Ludacris. This was almost 20 years ago and prevented Ludacris from getting a Pepsi deal. Now, years ago, I forgot where I got this from, but someone asked Ludacris would he ever get on the Bill O'Reilly show on Fox News? And Ludacris said in so many other words, no, I'm not going to do that. I have more respect. He said in so many other words, I have more respect for myself than that, because I already know he doesn't like me, and I already know that he has the power to turn my mic off like he does everybody else, to tell people, shut up, cut his mic, you talk, I talk. You say something, Bill O'Reilly or some other conservative idiot jackass on Fox News don't agree with, they want to interrupt you, they talk over you, and then they shut the whole interview down. And Ludacris said in so many other words, I'm not going to subject myself to that. I mean, do you think that some of these conservatives and so-called social justice warriors are going to sit around and try to get away with disrespecting a black person, a black alpha, pointing their fingers all up in their face? And I'm reminded of how there was some woman, forget her name, I can't think right off the top of my head right now. There's a picture of some woman, some white woman over in politics. She pointed her fingers in then President Barack Obama's face. And people were like, whoa, what the hell is this? Well, of course, Obama, if he did retaliate and get in this white woman's ass, of course some people will sit up and say, oh, well, that's political suicide, which it probably could have been. Which also explains why then President Obama hasn't done shit for the black community, except for talk about the Henry Louis Gates situation. He said the police acted stupidly, which they did, then he turns around and put his foot in his mouth. Now we can conclude that a lot of society's so-called powers that be, or authority figures, they realize that after trying to eradicate a certain group of people for so long, it's a losing battle. Some people will go out of their way to keep trying to eradicate or eliminate the presence and the spirit of one group of people, but some people just wise up and they like, you know what, I'm not going to waste my time with it. We've tried everything we could to try to destroy one group of people or silence one group of people, and they realize that it's a losing battle. So now they feel like they have to work their mojo or their magic on another group of people. And that could be one reason why you have a lot of so-called social justice warriors who avoided rap music, but now they want to try to censor beta male bloggers, video game creators, and comic books, and writers and topics of bloggers, even on YouTube, saying, oh, this is hate speech or misogyny speech and rape culture, this and that and the third, or so-called objectification of women. But on the low, some of these women behind closed doors in their own car and privacy, in their own privacy, they don't mind listening to rap music or watching pornography or whatever helps get them off, while getting around another group of people who they don't like, selling them a bunch of fairy tales and dreams and nitpicking them. And of course, that's what females do in regards to beta males who they do not like. Every little thing they do or say, every small provocation, they're going to nitpick you and, you know, try to silence you and intimidate you and shame you and this and that. Whereas when they get around people who they do like, or guys who they do like, i.e. alphas can get away with a whole lot of shit that the average person, especially a beta, cannot and will never get away with. Now, in regards to feminists and feminism, modern feminism can be about enabling more and more of that kind of behavior, that kind of two-faced, duplicitous behavior, but only when it benefits them. And then there was a comment on Advocatus Diaboli's blog topic, and one guy said something that's absolutely right. He said some of these so-called social justice warriors or these so-called feminists, they don't mind being one of the video vixens or video hoes, backing it up, twerking in the background of some of these rap musicians' music videos. But then when they read a blog by a beta male, or they get around a bunch of video game creators and creators of comic books, they come around them and then they give them a hard ass time and then they nitpick them. And that's how it is, not just as it pertains to the entertainment industry, not just as it pertains to social justice warriors and feminists and conservatives and what they feel like should be censored and what they feel like has no place in society, but it's like that in everyday life as well. And that's my topic, and I'll holler at y'all guys in a minute.